quote from Ban Ki-moon, the Secretary General from the United Nations. We are the first generation to be able to end poverty. We're also the last generation that can take steps forward to avoid the worst impacts of climate change. Our future generations will judge us harshly if we fail to uphold our moral and historical responsibilities. First off, what is climate change? Climate change is the result of us as humans damaging our world and damaging our atmosphere. The food that we consume, our fossil fuels, tearing down our forests, polluting our fresh drinking water, polluting our air, are all ways we contribute to the climate change. Broken heritage, fear for safety, melting ice caps, dwindling atmosphere, dying trees, fleeing animals, no electricity, and missing work. According to the New York Times, they're providing grants from our government that will go towards improving infrastructures, providing stronger roads, better bridges, dams, levees, and drainage systems in order to withstand storms and floods in parts of our country faced with this. Some facts about climate change. It has been reported on since the 1930s that parts of our country have started to dwindle away due to climate change. World War II was largely driven by control over the oil fields. In 1968, a study was done showing the collapse of the Antarctic ice sheets, which in turn caused rising sea levels. In 1970, it was the very first Earth Day. 1973 was the first energy crisis on record. In 1998, data studies confirmed that there was indeed a trend in warming. And in 2015, the West Antarctic ice sheet showed that it is irreversible. There's no fixing it now, and sea levels will continue to rise. For the climate refugees, this means that they are victims of changing weather, storms, flooding, rising sea levels. It jeopardizes their transportation to work and to school. It causes property damage, lost power, no ways of getting fresh drinking water. They're losing their crops, and there's no animals to hunt for food. According to the United Nations Refugee Agency, the 2 Native American tribes on the Isle de Jean Charles will have to relocate due to safety. These Native American tribes have been on the land for many generations. And in the documentary, Climate Refugees, you can feel the emotions. The tribes portray fear of losing their culture and their heritage and just turning into a part of history. They are sad and fearful of not being able to raise their children off the land that they were raised off of. The United Nations University for Environment and Human Security wrote a journal. Within that journal, there's an article titled "A Decision Framework for Environmentally Induced Migration." This article included the approach which examines the circumstances leading to the decision to move, includes the state of the environment, also covers the coping capacities and adaptive abilities of the people who are affected by climate change. The United Nations has also offered support for the displaced refugees and also support with the migrating and relocating of their homes. What we know as climate change used to be known as global warming. It's a very real problem, and it's at the front door of many people in our country and in our world. We can all help with the setbacks that the refugees are faced with. According to scientists at National Geographic, by 2050, up to 200 million people could be displaced from their home and their land. Our government here in the United States has provided a $48 million grant for the people of Isle de Jean Charles to relocate. And also, our government has provided $1 billion for people across 13 states. Climate change is affecting countries across the world, but safety needs to remain the #1 priority. We can all make a difference. It's not too late. We can each recycle, we can carpool, we can change our diet, and I strongly recommend watching Climate Refugees and Before the Flood.